Hello, today I will be discussing the Brown v. Board of Education case and how it demonstrates the flexibility of the law and the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. A quote I got from the book was from Judge Jerome Frank. The law is largely vague and variable, and he also states that much of the law is uncertainty, is of immense social value. This shows that the law is designed to adapt and change to the times that it is in. And Brown v. Board of Education is one of the best examples of this action. Brown versus Board of Education began in Topeka, Kansas, when Oliver Brown and other African American parents filed a lawsuit against the Board of Education. Brown's daughter was denied admission to a nearby white school and was forced to attend a segregated black school that was way farther from her house. They argued that this system is segregated violation and it was not in their constitutional rights under the 14th Amendment. This legal issue before the Supreme Court was whether the racial segregation in public schools violated the Equal Protection Clause, even if schools were considered equal in terms of facilities and resources. The court's decision was ruled in favor of Brown and the other parents. The court overturned the earlier decision in Plessy v. Ferguson, which has established the separate but equal doctrine. This is important to say because at the time of Plessy v. Ferguson, it was ruled that separate but equal did not go against the Equal Protection Clause Act for African Americans. Chief Justice Earl Warren wrote that separate educational facilities are inherently unequal, and I think this decision marked a major turning point in American history and constitutional law. The central question was whether the separating students based solely on race deprives them of equal educational opportunities, even if the physical facilities appear to be equal. The court focused on this heavily on the Equal Protection Clause, which guarantees that no state can deny any person equal protection under the law. Instead of only looking at the factors of buildings or textbooks, the court considered the broader effects of segregation. It recognized that equality is not just about physical conditions, but is also about how the people are treated and how it affects them of being segregated. It concluded that segregation creates a sense of inferiority among black children. As the court stated, to separate students solely because of their race generates a feeling of inferiority that may affect their hearts and minds in a way unlikely ever to be undone. This shows that the court was interpreting the Constitution in more of a modern way and realistic way of the time it was in, taking into the account of psychological and social factors, not just a physical inequality. The segregation had widespread negative effects on the education of the students. In many cases, black schools received way less funding, fewer resources, and were in way poorer of conditions than the nearby white schools. The African American students in the segregated schools had limited access to quality education and had way fewer extracurricular opportunities, and the teachers were way less inexperienced than the white schools nearby. But even in the situations where the schools can be considered the same in facility wise, the segregation still caused harm because it reinforced the idea that one race was inferior to another, which would affect the African American students' confidence, motivation, and the development of the student overall. And the court actually recognizes the importance of education in society by stating that education is perhaps the most important function of state and local governments. Because of this, denying equal opportunities to African Americans had serious long-term consequences not just for individuals but for the society as a whole. If workplaces did segregation like they did in the Brown v. Board of Education, it would create many of the same problems that were identified in the Brown v. Board of Education case. First, it would cause psychological harm to all employees who are separated based off their race. They would feel inferior, excluded, and way less valued. Second, it would create inequality in the opportunities that they are allowed. The segregation could lead to difference in job assignments to the white employees. It would definitely lead to different promotions and pay of the African American workers, and the access to resources would be way different. And it could also create safety hazards in certain workplaces if the African American workers were not able to have the resources of the white workers, like in construction or manufacturing job sites. It could also create a hostile and divided work environment instead of encouraging teamwork and collaboration. Segregation would definitely increase the division and reduce productivity, as black workers would not want to work as hard as the white workers because the blacks would be seen as unfair treatment and inferiority. So why would they want to work as hard, especially if they were getting paid less than the white workers? And it would definitely violate the fundamental principles of fairness and equality that are protected under the Constitution and modern civil rights. Just like in Brown v. Board of Education, segregation in the workplace would reinforce systematic inequality and limit people's ability to succeed. In conclusion, the Brown v. Board of Education case demonstrates the flexibility of the law and importance of equal protection clause. It overturned Plessy v. Ferguson, and it shows that the Supreme Court was able to evolve and adapt the law to correct past injustices and better reflect the values of equality. As Judge Jerome Frank suggested, the adaptability of the law is essential because it allows society to respond to the changing conditions of the time and protect the individual rights of everyone in America. Thank you for listening.